Yes, here at Vintage Liquor and Wine in Brickell, Miami, Florida, for an ultra premium Scotch tasting. I'm going to be trying 6 whiskeys worth $30,000. It's going to be amazing, and I'm going to show you everything. All right, so stay tuned. Warming up with some Oban 14. There was some Lagavulin 16 as well, but I think I might kill my palate before it as I try any of those amazing whiskeys. But yeah, this is absolutely incredible. I honestly thought this event wasn't even real when I saw the lineup, but as you can see, you saw the lineup. It is real. I'm so excited to try it.
Walker KGV, or also known as King George V. This is a release that comes out once a year. Everybody thinks that Johnnie Walker stops at Blue Label, and Blue Label's the fanciest one, but there's actually layers above Blue Label. So KGV is around about 450 to 750, depending on where you purchase it from in the United States. Comes out once a year. A lot of the whiskies that are in here are from what we call ghost distilleries. If you've never heard of ghost distilleries before, it basically means that the distillery has gone, closed, been demolished, will never ever make whiskey again. So when you taste this whiskey, you're really going to be tasting some Scotch whiskey history. Some of our rarest whiskies go in here. We have a lot of whiskey maturing in Scotland as a company. Does anyone want to guess how many barrels we have in Scotland? 1,000? 300,000?
Tens of hundreds of millions.
It's actually 11.5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, and only 7 million people live in Scotland. just to
No one lives there.
We're insured by Lloyd's of London, and our insurance is actually more on our whiskey than the Bank of England pay for all of their gold. So it's worth a lot of money. And these are from whiskies from all over Scotland that we get to choose from, that we blend together to create this wonderful blend. Our master blender used to be called Dr. Jim Beveridge, that's his real name. It's now Dr. Emma Walker. And she is now like the force behind blending all of our whiskies that we sell. And Johnnie Walker, we sell about 20 million cases a year globally. The United States is the #1 market. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was a bit lackluster.
Not per capita.
You're all paying my mortgage, basically. The United States is also the only market in the world where Black Label outsells Red Label. And do you know what one of the biggest Black Label markets in America is? Here. Miami. You guys drink a lot of Johnnie Walker Black Label here, so again, thank you again for paying my mortgage. What we're going to do now is actually going to taste this. You can pass this bottle around. Show it to your neighbour, pass it along, and it comes in this display box that you can see up here in the middle. That Leo is pointing to, and it's just a beautiful presentation. It's a great gift, obviously, as well. So I'm going to show you how to nose and how to taste whiskey. I was shown how to do this a long time ago.
Did you want
and there's a real methodology to it, and there's some things here that you may have not seen before. The first thing you do with any spirit, and this could be cognac, this could be mezcal, this could be, Calvados, is that you look at the colour. So if you pick up your glass and then tilt it to the side like this, so there's a little bit of depth to it, and then slowly rotate it so with 2 hands, like 3 or 4 times, coat the inside of the bowl and then tilt it upright, and then watch how fast or how slow the liquid goes down the inside. Yeah. Is it fast or slow?
Slow.
Medium pace.
Kind of medium
Yeah.
speed. They will slow down. You will see the difference between them all. This shows you the viscosity and like how thick and viscous the liquid is. If it goes down very slow, it's going to hold flavour in your palate for a long period of time. So that's called your flavour journey, or other people call it finish. So that's an important thing to look at. The next thing you want to do is smell. And if you've ever been on YouTube, or the YouTubes, as my dad calls it, you will see heavily mustachioed Scottish men on me who will say, take the glass, put your finger in the middle, and then ram your nose in there as hard as you possibly can, start hoovering it up like a Dyson. Don't do that. For two reasons. One, you will go nose blind, so if you keep hoovering up alcohol, your nose will go numb, you won't be able to smell anything. And the most important reason why you wouldn't be doing this, especially in public, is you look like an idiot. So don't do that. It's a very famous person who does it, and I said it in front of him, and I referred to him as a truffle pig, and he didn't talk to me for 2 years.
We know who that is.
But don't be truffle pig, basically. What we want to do, and the correct way of doing it, is if you imagine your glass as a clock face, so this up here being 12, this down here being 6, start your nose above, so tilting your glass to the side, start your nose here, way above the 12, and then gently inhale with your mouth slightly open, and go all the way to below the 6. So like this. And you'll see a difference. You'll see those light, gentle kind of orchard fruit notes will all sit up here. As you get further down, then you'll start to get more depth, so more of the sweetness. And then as you get towards the top, that's where there's kind of really syrupy richness. So this one smells at the bottom. To me, it smells like sticky toffee pudding. Do you get sticky toffee pudding in this country?
Oh, I'm dying to try it.
Alright, know your audience. It smells like treacle. I don't talk about it anymore. So what you will see up here, because of molecular weight, light fruity notes will go up and heavy rich notes will fall down. So you're really wanting to smell the difference between the top and the bottom. Did you all see a difference there?
Yeah.
Good. So the next thing you're going to do is take a small sip. So once you've taken a small sip, just swallow it quite quickly. We're just customizing or acclimatizing your palate to alcohol. And then what we want to do is go back and take a small sip again, and then move it around all of your palate. So bounce it off of both of your cheeks, get it down under your tongue, get it in front of your teeth, chew it around, and then slowly swallow. And this is the most important part of that whole process. Gently draw air in over your tongue, close your mouth, and breathe out through both nostrils for as long as you can. When you're breathing out through both nostrils,
toffee, dried fruits,
pick up that Werther's original.
very bacon spice heavy.
Yes.
All right, thank God.
A lot of cinnamon, big red cinnamon.
You've got that really wonderful
then
toffee
going into
note
dried
in here.
fruits.
There's a tiny amount of smoke in here. There's a little
Fantastic.
bit
Definitely the best
salt
Johnnie
in
Walker I've
here
ever
because
tried.
We've got whiskies in here from Islay. And Islay whiskies have got that wonderful maritime, slightly salty note to them, almost like a salted caramel. So this is Johnnie Walker King George V. It's a wonderful, wonderful blend of whiskies from
That's
all over
Port
Scotland,
Ellen,
including
the
ones that
maritime,
have closed.
the smokiness
We'll
on the
never,
end.
ever make whiskey
Wow.
again. It's absolutely phenomenal. Did you all like it?
Fantastic.
All right. Don't enthuse too much. Did you all like it?
Absolutely fantastic.
See? Are from this region, so Glenfiddich, Glenlivet, Balvenie, Macallan, they're all from Speyside. And this distillery here is called Dufftown, but you'll see on here it also says the Singleton. The Singleton is actually an umbrella term for 3 different distilleries. So Glendullan, which is from the town of Dufftown, Dufftown, which is from the town of Dufftown. I know this is very meta. And then there's another one called Glenord, which is near Inverness. Some people here are supposed to remember we're in Inverness, right? Did you go to Loch Ness?
Oh my god.
Oh, you did?
Whoa.
Where the Scottish Tourist Board invented a monster, so tourists would turn up. And turn up they do. But this is actually from Dufftown, which is right in the middle of Speyside. So this distillery is about a 10-minute walk from Glenfiddich and Balvenie. I was actually born in this village. It's about 2,500 people live there, and there's 7 distilleries there. And fun fact about this village, other than the fact I was born there, is that if you ever get stopped by the police, you cannot get breathalyzed legally in this village because there's so much ambient alcohol in the atmosphere. They can't get a 0 reading on the breathalyzers. True story. All right. No, not that I'm endorsing.
What's the visa process?
Because I'm not. But this is a wonderful whiskey. So this is actually from a vintage from 1985. These were all ex-bourbon casks, the last 2 casks from that era. And this is a very, very fruity whiskey. So whereas before with King George V, it was that wonderful like toffee, almost salted caramel note. With this one, try and think about orchard fruit when we go to it, especially when you're nosing it. It's almost like it's got this kind of slight sherbet.
So much apple.
Green apple.
So much apple.
You smell the green apple right at the top of your glass. It's got this wonderful like fruit explosion to it. This is also at cask strength. So if you look here, the ABVs are on all of these. So this is at 47.7. Absolutely incredible. When you taste this one on the palate, try and look beyond just that appley note, because behind that appley note you've got a little bit of
butter,
almost like a pie crust cereal note that sits in here. If you've ever had tarte tatin, that French dessert, that's what this is to me. It's got that caramelized apple in there, but it's also got some really nice top notes of orchard fruits. There's a really nice vanilla base that sits underneath it, because this all sits in American oak. It's just a wonderful, fruity, light,
super
perfect
apple pie
example of what a Speyside whiskey should look like or could taste like. There's also lots of different distilleries in Speyside, but for me, this one is absolutely sensational. Even for people who don't like whiskey, when you taste them on this, they can't get past the fact that it is so light, it is so fruity, it has all these wonderful flavors in there, and no smoke. There's absolutely no peat in here whatsoever. We will get to peat shortly, but what did we think of the second whiskey? Yum yum? Just 1, 2 thumbs?
It's so covering your mouth. It's intense.
You don't even have to speak anymore.
It's salty too, but just surprising for Speyside.
As we move on.
Oh wow.
Okay, so.
But yeah, the apple just goes through, and that pie crust thing is perfect notes.
If you want me to slow down, I'll slow down. But if you want me to keep going, I'll keep going. I talk fast and I move around a lot. Anyway, so I was talking about the town of Dufftown. This distillery is also from the town of Dufftown. It's called Mortlach, and I was born 250 feet away from this distillery. 25th November 1973, Sunday, it was raining, and I'm still talking about this distillery today. This is if you ever want to kind of read about how weird distilleries can be, this is the one that people normally talk about. It's a real oddball of a distillery for multiple reasons. One,
partial dissolution.
Nobody makes whiskey the same way they make whiskey, because they make 3 different whiskeys in one still house. They make a malty, fruity, and then a heavy, meaty style of whiskey in there, which they all blend together. That started in 1896 by a guy called Alexander Cowie, and we have absolutely no idea where he got that concept from, because when he sold this distillery to Johnnie Walker and Sons in 1923, they came to pick up the keys to the distillery from Alexander Cowie, and he was burning the records for the distillery in his front yard as they came to pick up the keys.
That is rich.
They were apoplectic with rage. They had no idea why he did it, and he would never tell them why he did it.
So much barrel.
Up until his death, he wouldn't tell anybody where he got the concept for the distillery and how they make the whiskey here. So it's really a weird distillery that's kind of based on this kind of very eccentric character who made whiskey like no one else made whiskey, and we continue to make it the same way today, even though we have no idea where the
sweet and luscious. So much wood.
This is the 30-year-old. This is
30 years old, 49.1%.
yearly release, came out 2 years ago, and has been extremely popular because it doesn't taste like Scotch whiskey. And the reason why it doesn't taste like Scotch whiskey is because this was an experiment on top of an experiment. So Mortlach as a distillery was an experiment that continues today. And this is where we wanted to take those wonderful liquids from this distillery and put them into multiple styles of casks. So we had Bordeaux wine casks, we have Zacapa rum casks from Guatemala, and then we have Calvados casks.
You actually smell that chocolate from the wrong Zacapa on
we
the end.
have ex-bourbon casks. And that all goes in here. So when you taste this, look for that apple top note that's going to come through from Calvados. Look for that rich kind of nutty note that's going to come through from the sherry. So imagine Ferrero Rocher with a big apple next to it. And then on top of that, you've got Zacapa. And Zacapa obviously is a wonderfully rich rum that has multiple cask types in it, and they use a pineapple yeast Zacapa, so there's this really nice, almost like tiki note to this one as well. It's just
I could smell this all day long. This is the best milling of the lineup so far.
Just because of the cask mechanism is so unique, the whiskey flavor is so unique. There's no other whiskey like this on planet Earth, I can guarantee you, and there's no other whiskey that's as complicated as this one because of the different ways we make it, as well as all the different cask types. And then on top of that, Zacapa used 5 different casks, so you've got like a multiplication of flavors going on in here. It's absolutely nuts. From an absolutely nuts distillery that was owned by an absolute nutcase. We have a wonderful letter from 1934. So after Prohibition ended in the United States, one of our biggest customers pre-Prohibition in the US was Macy's in New York, and their house whiskey was Mortlach.
Trying whiskey this old, definitely the barrel. Barrel is insane.
We started shipping whiskey back to them. We never stopped shipping whiskey to the United States.
There's so much chocolate. You could definitely tell this has so much levels of maturation in different casks. And that chocolate.
Finished Prohibition.
It's almost a milk chocolate, not even dark, just milk.
But we didn't know how much money that they were charging for it because this guy had burned all the records. So we had to go to Macy's and say, we have no idea what we were charging you for, could you please tell us? And they could have told us anything. Thankfully they were very honest. They said, this is what you were paying, so you can continue to pay.
I have to finish this one, I'm sorry.
So it's a really weird distillery. It doesn't accept visitors, which is odd. So it's one of Diageo's like skunk works sites, but if you ever go to Speyside, you want to visit it, get my card, I've got cards on me, and then I can probably get you around there. It's a fascinating,
you heard that?
weird distillery. But what did you all think of the whiskey?
Oh, that was the best one so far. That was absolutely amazing.
Alright, so speaking of Zacapa, this is another whiskey that was an experiment. So we have about 12
Singleton 40-year-old
in Scotland. Half of them are females.
Singleton 40-year-old cask strength 45.9%.
One of them was called Maureen Robinson. She worked at Diageo for 45 years before she retired. Her last ever project was this, and this was a 20-year experiment where she took a lot of Singleton and Glenord, which is the one next to Inverness, which is a very fruity, creamy whiskey, and she was obsessed with Zacapa. So she got Zacapa Royale and Zacapa XO casks from Guatemala from Lorena Vasquez, who's the blender there, shipped them to Scotland, and then for 20 years, half of it sat in Zacapa XO, half of it sat in Zacapa Royale. The difference mainly being Royale's got more cognac in it, so more of that burnt orange note. And then she just let it sit there. And then the year before she retired, she was just like, oh yeah, I have all those barrels sitting there. So I'm going to release this, and this is going to be my retirement gift to the world, and that's what you're about to taste. It's a real passion project from two very passionate female master blenders who wanted to create this wonderfully luxurious whiskey. And again, this one doesn't taste like Scotch whiskey. And,
there's a sourish note.
I'm not saying that in a negative way, I'm just saying that in terms of the
fruity and
that you will see from this. is very different to what you would expect to see from a
What
Scotch
is
whiskey. So a lot of people, when they talk about Scotch whiskies, like, oh, I hate Scotch whiskey, they all taste like Band-Aid. I have no idea where that came from. But I get that all the time. And it's like, do you mean smoke? And they're like, no, it's like that medicinal note. And that comes through.
Fruity, turning salty and plum. I definitely get that plum.
There's no peat in here whatsoever. This is all just that wonderful fruity, creamy liquid that's then into those two Zacapa casks. And then this is the end result of this. So I'll have a little nose and a little taste of this one.
That's the Mortlach.
This is Singleton. So
No, that's the Mortlach.
Oh, sorry. So we're going up at the top.
Top right, yeah.
Thanks. You tell me how to do my job. Jet lag. But yeah, it's just got this incredible note, and in there it does have a little bit of that pineapple note, top note towards the top of the glass. It's just absolutely sensational. What did you all think? Yum yum. Do we have a favorite so far?
This one. This was Nick's favorite.
This one?
This one.
The Mortlach.
Singleton 40. Singleton.
Yeah.
This is very easy on the palate. It's almost too much going on, but it's so mellow. It's so mellow. Yeah, the nose is absolutely incredible. It's so mellow. I think it's lost a little bit of that too.
Here, I'll pass this around so you
A little bit too much. Oh, thank you.
All right, so everyone take a small sip of water.
Singleton 40.
And then we have a couple more whiskeys to get through. The first one.
Yeah, it's the milk. I'm actually don't want this.
The 1985 Dufftown. But Prima and Ultima is a line that we
Yeah, it has a nice chocolatey note at the end too, but nah,
for our
not a big fan.
clients. We have private clients all over the world, and we wanted to release
Oldest
single
Talisker
casks
ever.
or very limited releases
Talisker 1976.
from distilleries that we have around
50.9%.
Scotland, from our stores,
46 years old.
11.5 million barrels.
Absolutely insane.
Pick some of the oldest, some of the rarest.
I'm literally shaking to try this.
And then Ultima means, the last or the ultimate. So first, in terms of when you're looking at experiments, we do a lot of experiments with this cast.
That reminds me of Caroni rum. Holy crap. That's so oily.
This one here is from a distillery called Talisker from the Isle of Skye. And the Isle of Skye is in the northwest of Scotland.
I'm like shaking
volcanic
smelling this.
region, and it's absolutely spectacular. If you ever get a chance
I need to
to
wash.
Oh, you can be the tourist board. How nice is it? It's like a dream. Everyone should go. All right. I'll pay you later. I'll Venmo you before we go. All right. So this is a
50.9%. How is it still so high?
From Talisker. We had 2 barrels of this left in the world, and they both went into the bottling that you see here. And this is a very unusual whiskey because Scotland had a heat wave in 1976.
So salty.
We don't get heat waves very often, and that's why I don't live there anymore. It rains
So
all the
oily,
time. But in
and then some
1976,
pitch.
I was 3 years old, and apparently it was sunny.
It has some
And
sweetness,
that made
but I
this
can't
whiskey
tell
so
what sweetness
unique
it is.
because this is a very cool climate. And to have very hot stills through this heat wave heated the outside of the stills rather than creating like an oily,
So fragrant.
smoky whiskey that
I want this as a perfume.
This created more of a floral whiskey. So when you smell this one, in its bottom middle, when you smell this one, look for that really nice floral note that sits within it. You've also got a really nice maritime note in here, that seaside.
Okay, gotta go in for it.
There's a little bit of creme caramel going on in here. So there's a little bit of that vanilla note. Then you've got this wonderful peaty note. This is the smokiest whiskey we're going to taste. But you will get a lot of that characteristic come through from it. If you don't know what peat is,
as you age, the barrel overtakes that peat. It is mellowed out the peat tremendously. But it's that the peat isn't. It's still very much there. Super smoky, but it's not sharp smoky.
So we will dry our barley with smoke from peat. And once we dry our barley, we then make whiskey with
have you
it.
ever overcooked a brisket for like 30 hours?
That's what we're
Yeah.
going to taste here.
Yeah.
But also
It's
look for that
barbecued,
really
but like
nice maritime
overdone.
note, that saltiness in there, but also that ozone. That
Absolutely
seaweed
incredible. That does not
character
feel like
here.
50.9
This
at all.
is an absolutely phenomenal phenomenal whiskey. I'm obsessed with Talisker. It was one of the first distilleries I got into. It was
Cool.
Talisker 10-year-old. My cat used to be called Talisker. That's how much
The pepper.
loser I am. And
So much
Talisker's
pepper.
from the Isle of Skye, and my
Yeah.
other cat's called Skye. So there you go.
I think that pepper is all from barrels.
So there you go. This one's at 50.9 ABV.
Natural cash
I would
strength.
say if it's a
Oh,
bit
it's
too
here.
smoky, add a few drops of water to it.
It's perfect.
And it will actually open it up and make it a little smoother, a little more accessible. But it's just beautiful, beautiful whiskey. And honestly, it's one of the rarest
Tiny drop.
whiskeys you'll probably ever taste in your life. And I'm very, very
Is it
honored
woken
to
up?
be here to let you guys all taste those. Are you all enjoying this so far?
The saltiness came out some more.
I told you the volume would go up.
Guys, crown jewel is coming up.
All right, so
Oh.
not to get all like reverent about things, but this
water
whiskey
brought
and
back
the
the
last
sharp
whiskey
heat.
we're about to taste
That
is one of
whiskey
those
needed to
selected
have that
whiskeys
water
on planet
touch.
Earth. It's one of the rarest
It's almost like it
whiskeys
just
on
woke
planet
up, it came
Earth. And
alive.
it comes from a
It's
distillery
absolutely
called Aurora,
amazing.
which opened in
Okay, next one.
1820, 1819.
Creme de la creme, $15,000 whiskey.
In March
Aurora.
of 1983. And we're about to taste a 1977 liquid from
48.2%.
And if you talk to whiskey nerds, and I talk to them all the time, they all talk about what's called the Age of Peat, which was from 1969 to 1977. So if you talk to wine nerds, they'll talk about golden harvest and things like that, and first growths, and they'll talk in reverence about different vineyards. And it's the same thing for
15,000.
Aurora. You talk to whiskey aficionados,
Closed distillery,
and you say, I had
last
1977
distillation,
Aurora,
age of peat.
They'll be extraordinarily jealous
Absolutely.
of the fact that I got to taste this whiskey. I can't remember how many of these are left. I did have not a lot.
Wow.
If you have it there.
The note says candle wax here, and I was a little bit what, but no, super, literally just candle wax.
Yeah, in the United States left. We had 84, 86, and now we've got rid of a decent amount of them to collectors.
This is
And
incredible.
to people who actually drink them. And you guys are about to drink
It's
this
very
wonderful
mineral.
whiskey. So this, and I was talking about this earlier
And
on.
salty again,
This
too.
would have been a very, very smoky whiskey when it was first made. But it's been in a cask since 1977, so a long, long time in oak. This has all been in ex-bourbon, and it's just sat in a warehouse in Scotland doing nothing other than intensifying flavour. Smoke will go away, but other flavours will come in, and you're all about to taste this incredible whiskey. So when I talk about unicorn whiskies, this is genuinely a unicorn whiskey, and I have private clients all over the United States, and I was doing a tasting in California.
I'm honoured to
with
try
two
it.
of them just recently, and they were
Can
like,
get past
"This
the
is
candle
perfect
wax.
whiskey. This is probably the most perfect
Minerality.
whiskey you've ever had."
All right,
And they
let's
bought 5 bottles of it because they're loaded. Anyway, but we're about to taste it all together. So let's all have a look at the viscosity on this one. You won't be surprised to see that it's very viscous, almost syrupy. On the nose,
It is viscous.
it's such a weird whiskey because
So
when you
friggin'
start off
weird.
you get a little bit of
It's like
gingerbread,
wax on your tongue.
and then as you get further down, then you start to get more into the realm of a little bit of sourdough in there, there's a little bit of salt in there, and then you've got this really gentle, oaky, vanilla, smoky characteristic to it. And then when you taste this one, just try and think about all of the complexities, but also the fact that, 2/3 of
port.
this evaporated.
It's bacon.
It's called the Angel's Share. So we've lost most of this up into the atmosphere
It's
above
so
Scotland. We have very
salty
happy
and smoky in
angels
that
above Scotland.
weird kind of way.
Who rewards us with rain.
It's the smoke element and that peat element. Again, that super barbecued, really intense.
Tiny amount. And like I say, there's 24 bottles.
Absolutely incredible to try it. $15,000 $15,000 a bottle. I would not buy it.
It's gone forever.
Because
and you're only left with wonderful, happy,
it's overdone,
memory
but
of
it's
tasting it. Have you all had an
incredible
opportunity
experience.
to taste it?
Not yet.
All right, please
Savoring
do.
it.
And then again, when you try and think about moving this one around the palate, just look at how viscous it is, how much of that wonderful
it climbs in the
syrupy
smoke.
note is going on in here, and then I'm actually have a tiny bit.
And the salt.
but there's a really nice gentle sweetness to this as well. So look for all
My
those
whole
different
palate is,
layers
my
of
tongue is
flavour
numb
that
now
sit
from
within
this.
And
There's
then
no
just think about how
sacrilege.
gentle that smoke sits in there.
Sacrilege,
I
sacrilege.
was in here a few weeks ago and we had an opportunity
The tiniest
to taste
drop.
it. And I know you don't really like super smoky whiskies, but this was, I think, the one that you gravitated towards. It's incredible. Anyway, what did we think? We all
Just drop of water.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
See if it opens up.
And again, if you want to make your friends jealous, you can take a picture of this and send it to them.
Oh, I already did that.
And if they know anything about whiskey, then, you know, all of these whiskeys are extremely rare. This one here is probably the rarest.
A wax and smoke and peat and of everything.
I do expect it back.
1977 natural cask strength Brora.
But I have
Absolutely amazing.
time at the end. Does anyone have any questions?
That was absolutely incredible. Let me put it back now for a little bit.
So it was partially demolished. We actually reopened Aurora in 2021. So we reopened two distilleries. We opened
King
Aurora
George,
and then we
great.
reopened Port Ellen. So Port Ellen was
Standout,
reopened in March
Mortlach 30-year-old favorite.
And then we reopened Aurora in-
Singleton 40, then Dufftown.
And then
No, Mortlach 30, then the Talisker, just because I'm the Talisker. 40, then Dufftown. I did not like the Brora. I did not like it.
The original still.
Interesting.
So it's a complete recreation of what it used to be.
A little bit of Singleton of Dufftown. Oh, going from that peat to that. Crazy.
Waxy pineapple style of whiskey, whereas Brora makes it more robust and heavier.
Can't even taste that anymore after that Brora.
Do we have any more questions?
Absolutely incredible. All right, finishing off the tasting with a little Lagavulin 16. I know, I would have finished here too, but no, that tasting was absolutely incredible. These are whiskeys that I probably will only have once in a lifetime due to the rarity and the price considerations. As I said, like most of these whiskeys were like starting at 3, 4, 5,000, ending at $15,000 a bottle for that Brora 1977. But it was an amazing experience to try it. Out of the 6 of them, the Mortlach 30-year-old surprised me because that chocolatey note, I could drink that all the time. It was such a experience. As I said, like if I get chocolate in a whiskey or a Scotch, particularly, it usually would be like more of a dark chocolate, and this was a milk chocolate. It was sweetness, it was personified, it was fantastic. I absolutely love that. And it was surprising to me, the $15,000 Brora, it was, again, the peat itself was so intense and like overcooked into that barbecue, and it was really something I've never tried before, but not something that I would look for, if that makes sense. It was absolutely a great experience to try, but yeah, it's still absolutely incredible to try it. That 1976 Talisker, 46-year-old Talisker. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna try some peat now. Yeah. This tastes sharp compared to that super cooked brisket. Again, and that's what age does to that peat. When we say mellow it doesn't lose the peat, it just changes the peat. And it was so good. It was so good. Again, I don't know if I'll ever be able to try that again, but I'll definitely maybe look out for some older Taliskers as well too. What surprised me too, that the King George V, the Johnnie Walker, that Port Ellen in that was one of the smokiest Johnnie Walkers I've ever had. I think the smokiest I've ever had. And it was so good. It actually brought a whole dimension. I was actually surprised at, experiencing that. That's about $5.50 a bottle. I'd buy that bottle maybe. I actually would. I would buy that bottle. I think it's such a unique experience. The Singletons, absolutely amazing. The Dufftown, the 40-year-old, those had fruit notes and sharpness. I was so surprised that even that there was all these things of cask strength, that they still retain so much sharpness. And I think what is happening is the barrel impact of it left that sharpness in there. But yeah, no, absolutely incredible. Ewan, the tasting director here too, that was doing it, part of the show. Absolutely incredible guy. You've seen his stories. I'm glad I got to film the whole thing. And as I said, like the people at Vintage Liquor and Wine here in Brickell, absolutely amazing people. This observatory is one of the nicest spots I've have been in Miami. The view is absolutely incredible. I'm going to be coming here for a lot more events, a lot more. But yeah, absolutely incredible experience. Something that I think I'll always remember when people ask me like the best tasting I've ever been to. Here it is. I'll never be able to try $30,000 in whiskey and 6 whiskeys. Come on. Absolutely incredible. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this experience, and I hope you get to try some of these bottles as well. Cheers.